Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to a special holiday session of MAPS group coaching. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to join us here today. First of all, thank you for being part of our MAPS community, for being one of our very valued clients. We appreciate you immensely. So I have the privilege to lead a session with all of you today. My name is Tim Beverlin. I'm a MAPS leadership, technology, and agent coach. Today, our session is Mobilize your business in 5 simple steps. So, little spoiler, we may be spending some time in the Command app, as you can probably imagine. What we're going to focus on today is really those 5 steps to get you started. So we're going to jump right into it. What I am going to ask, you're probably going to have some questions. If you could either put them in the chat box or save them to the end. We've got about 30 minutes or so of content. We're going to save the last 15 minutes or so for any questions you have. I'd love for this to be interactive. Please bring your questions. What we're going to cover today is also based on today's functionality of the Command app and today's functionality of Command in general. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in the beginning in Command, then we're going to jump over to the Command app. And again, based on what's available today. So if you rewatch this recording 30 days from today, things may be a little bit different. They may have advanced since then. And yet I wanted to be as relevant and timely as possible. Just by a thumbs up or a thumbs down, how's the audio? Everybody hear me okay? Great. All right. Well, any questions you have, feel free, pop them in. Great. Thank you and raising your hand. So awesome, Deb. Thank you for doing that so early on. If you've got questions, you want to raise your hand, please feel free to do so. Again, I'm going to do my best to take the questions at the end. If there's something urgent, though, you want to make sure we cover it right this second. You can't wait. Just pop your question up either in the chat box or raise your digital hand, and I'll do my best to get to you. Susan, did you have something before we get started, or are you good to go?
Good to go.
All right, great. Let's jump into it. So we're going to start with step 1. And step 1 is really, we're going to borrow from MREA. We're going to borrow from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And it's on page 188, at least in my copy it is. And page 188 is the 4 laws of lead generation. And the 4 laws of lead generation on that figure on page 188 are build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it in a systematic way, and service all the leads that come your way. So we're going to walk through what does that look like in Command. You may be thinking, well, I thought this was mobile. Why are we spending time in Command? Well, until we set up the fundamentals and the foundations in the Command platform and the desktop version, Command Mobile has different capabilities. So we want to make sure that your database is set up in Command in the desktop version before we pivot over to Command Mobile or the mobile app. You're going to hear that interchangeable. I'm working on my language with that. Command app, you may hear Command Mobile, you may hear a version of that as we go through. What we're referring to is the one that's designed to work with your mobile device when we say Command Mobile or the Command app. All right, so let's pivot over and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get into Command. So step 1 of this whole process is going to contacts. And we're going to go into our contacts. And if this is kind of super 101 for you, awesome. If this is the first time you're experiencing that, that's okay too. We want to kind of make this for anyone that was part of this experience today. I'm going to go in from my personal account. So whether you're on a team or you're part of a team, you're a rainmaker on a team, you're in operations, this should apply to everyone. So I'm in my personal contacts. There's a couple different ways to simply add a contact. One way is to import. And you could go through and you can import a gigantic file. I've had success importing up to 8,000 contacts at a time with no errors at 8,000 contacts, bringing them all in at once. We do know there's some changes coming to import. I think it's okay for me to talk about one of them. We're expecting a change to import being the import wizard you may have heard about. So stay tuned for future functionality inside of that. But as today's purposes are import, you can bring in a CSV file and you do need to download the template. So when you click on import, it'll pop up for you to be able to download a template. I can download that template and then use that template. Please don't make any changes to it. Save a CSV file and bring in all your contacts. So that's one way to bring in a bulk number of contacts. The way to bring in just a single contact is simply click on this big add contact. And I'm going to put in a name here today. So I'm going to pick on my friend Matt Teeter, fellow MAPS coach, and I'm going to put Matt in my database. So simply put in his name. That is the only required field. Now, we talked about the four laws of lead generation. And the first one is build a database. The second one is feed our database. So we kind of want to feed this contact some relevant information. While a name is fantastic, and I could be as simple as just put Matt in here. Knowing Matt's last name helps even more. If I know his email address, that helps even more. I'm going to give Matt my email address for today's purposes. That way I don't publicly post out Matt's email address to everyone else. We're already using his name, and I think that's good enough. And then I'm going to put in his phone number, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put in my phone number. Actually, I'm going to put in a fictitious phone number because my number is already in here. So I'm going to pick in a phone number in here for Matt. And then I get to pick, is he a lead that's coming in? Are there any tags? We're going to get to tags in just a moment. But for our purposes, if I want to create a simple contact with a full name and email address and phone number, I can hit create. And now I should have in my system, Matt Teeter, that I can easily search for. And there we go. I've got Matt in here a couple times because I've clearly used him as an example before. And I've got Matt in my system. Now you may be thinking, okay, great. We've seen this before. I've used command. I get it. This is page 188 of MREA. This is your database. Your database will have a direct proportion to the income you make based on the number of people in that database, based on the frequency and intensity that you communicate with that database. So if you think about the left-hand side of this, this becomes pretty static. The left-hand side of the contact card, Matt's probably not going to change his phone number. He's probably not going to change his email address. He might change his address, and I'd update that. I'd put in some other information. His social profile is going to stay the same. Hey, his birthday, still going to be Valentine's Day. Matt's birthday every year is still going to be Valentine's Day. I don't need to change that. The right side, however, I may see some changes. I'm going to see different timeline interactions. I'm going to see different opportunities that Matt's a part of. I'm going to see different smart plans that he may be on, and tasks and notes and saved searches. But for the purpose of what we're going to cover today, in order to get our mobile experience started, I need to first have that contact in there. Can I add a contact from the mobile device? Can I add a contact in from the mobile app? Absolutely. And yet, if I'm doing anything significant in terms of number of people I want to add, I found as a best practice, add them in bulk from the desktop. The only option I really have to add them from the mobile version is to add them one at a time. Questions so far? All right, great. We're going to let me just
repeat
check.
that.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I was
Question?
asking to please repeat that, the last part.
Yeah, sure. So the way to add a contact in bulk is on the desktop version. You can definitely add contacts on the mobile version as well, which we'll certainly touch on in just a few moments. However, adding in bulk in the mobile version isn't yet an option. I can't import thousands of contacts at the same time. So great. Thank you for that question. Any others as we continue to move forward? All right, cool. You are seeing the right screen, right? I kind of got both. All right, I got a thumbs up from some, I got thumbs up down from others. All right, cool. And yeah, jump in anytime if you see something off with what screen I'm sharing. All right, so let's go back in, and I'm going to share back the slides again. We're going to bounce back between the two. So when we talk about feeding it every day is really where we get into the second step. So the first one is to build the database. Okay, great. We know where to build a database. We're going to build it inside a command or inside of whatever system you have today. We can bring it inside a command. So the second thing is to actually feed it some data, some usable data. So we're going to look at some custom tags, custom fields. We're going to look at making sure we have complete records for our contacts. What I mean by that is a phone number, an email address, ideally a home address, meaning could I contact this person voice to voice? Could I contact them electronically, or could I actually send them something in the mail? Remember, we used to get things in the mail, that whole direct mail, like handwritten cards, or we'd pop by and actually see human beings face to face, or we'd send them a gift, or we'd send them a birthday card. All of that comes from home address and having their most up-to-date home address. So let's pivot back into command, and we're going to, again, bounce between the two. And let's go back to our friend Matt. And I'm going to go back to his contact card. So I can search just by first name. I can search by last name. We're going to load up. The danger of doing this over Zoom during a holiday break. Fingers crossed, we're hoping for the best together today. And I know hope's not a great strategy. And the good news is we can actually do this from our mobile device as well. Bear with me a second. All right, oh, there we go. Great timing, just as I was going to pivot into something else. Okay, so now we're going to look at Matt's contact card. So a couple of things we said we could add. Custom tags. So I'm going to start by skipping custom tags and coming back to that lastly on this page, because I want to show you the place that I find is the easiest to manage my custom tags. What we do want to go into is his address. So when I click on that pencil, I can go in and I can add more information. Click on add additional contact information. Now I can add an additional email address. Maybe Matt has a work email address I want to add. Maybe an additional phone number. Maybe Matt still has a landline. Then I could add in his home address. I'm going to make one up for Matt. This is not Matt's home address, so please don't mail him anything. I'm just going to make up a fictitious address, 33 Delaney Drive in Downingtown. I could add his social profile. And you may be wondering, why do I need to add his social profile? I'm already connected to him on Facebook. Here's the why behind this that I don't know that gets shared enough. When I go to create a campaign, a social campaign, if I target my contacts, Command looks at the email address on file. And when I say on file, I mean in their contact card. And it also looks to see if I have a social profile connected. Now, I don't know about many of you, yet when I set up my Facebook account, what feels like a million years ago, I had a different email address. I had an email address that I used for personal reasons only, had nothing to do with business. And it's not an email address that I share with anyone. So I may have a social profile that wouldn't naturally be found if I was targeting that as a campaign. So Command looks in both places. So it looks not only at their email address to target them, it also looks at their social profile URL. So best practice, add as much information as you possibly can. One note on address, and you may be thinking, how do I get the address for someone? Well, there's a lot of sources. One source that I use that is outside of Command is called Fast People Search. You can search for almost anywhere in the US, fastpeoplesearch.com. It's free, easy to use, a little bit scary how much of your information is actually on there. Search for yourself. You may be surprised that your cell phone is actually out there. One note before you contact anyone, and this is on a future slide, and yet we've got to put it in at this spot too. Before you contact anyone, please make sure you do so in a TCPA compliant way, paying attention to the National Do Not Call list, paying attention to the National Do Not Call registry. All right, so back to the address. Here's another way that I could get Matt's address right now. So Matt's in my database. I know him. We're contacts. I could send Matt a TCPA compliant text message right now and say, hey, Matt, I'd like to send you a holiday card. What's your best address? And that wouldn't be weird. In fact, that would be quite normal. I got a bunch of messages this year that said, what's your address? I want to send you a card. I'm updating my list. So please take advantage of the next week or two to update your databases with addresses if you don't have them already. Continuing to go through here, I've got some additional information. I can put in Matt's birthday. Yeah, I am going to give this away. I'm not going to put his year, but Matt's birthday is on Valentine's Day. It's easy for me to remember. So I'm going to go ahead and update that. And then I could add in some more custom information. So I know Matt has 2 dogs. Maybe I put in his dogs' names. I know Matt's wife, Regina, really well. I'd connect Regina up at the top as a relationship, as his spouse. And when I'm done all of this, I'm going to click Save. What I'm feeding my database now is more than just names. I'm actually feeding it information. So that the next time I have a conversation with Matt, I can pull up his contact card. Hey, Matt, how's everything going in East Brandywine? Who do you know in East Brandywine that may be most likely to sell next? I've got buyers looking in that neighborhood or in this area. Do you know anyone that may look to sell? And then I can continue on with any other information. Hey, Matt, I know your birthday's coming up. I can get that card in the mail to him ahead of time. And now I can add birthday smart plans and some other touches there. Any questions on this before we keep moving forward? You're going to get a lot of information today. So it's going to be coming fast and furious. Check the chat box. All right, where did I put the extra info? Great question. And I think that is a very usable part of what we're going to cover. So I'm going to go in to add more information, and I'm going to go under custom. And I'm going to add in here a custom field. And I've got some options here. I can choose from one of my existing custom fields that I've created. You see, I've got several in here: favorite football team, shirt size, favorite pie, favorite t-shirt or t-shirt size, types of wine they like, their anniversary. But I'm going to go ahead and put in here pets. I don't currently have a pets category, so I can create a custom field of pets. And I'm going to make this a drop-down option. And I could simply put in here for my drop-down, dogs, cats, fish. I don't know, what other pets do people have? Well, let's keep it at that. We're going to keep it simple. And when I'm done with this, if I hit done, I now have a drop-down menu to select what types of pets this individual would have. If I want to do names, I could add a custom field that was just a text box. So I could put in the name of their pet as well. And I know pets are incredibly important to many individuals. So maybe that is something I'd want to put in here. Same idea for kids or grandkids or parents or grandparents or significant other business partners that maybe aren't a contact inside of Command. So great spot to be able to utilize that. All right, cool. I go into edit contact info and I can't access social. Okay, cool. We'll come back and we'll cover more of that social in just a moment. You should be able to just copy and paste the URL from their social media link from Facebook, if that's the one you're looking at, and put it right into the social section. I should be able to paste that right in from Facebook. If it's a different social, Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn, select the appropriate one and just paste in that URL. All right, let's keep moving. I'm going to pivot back in. So we looked at custom fields, which is what we just created. We looked at complete phone records. We skipped custom tags. And I don't want to skip custom tags because this is incredibly important. As we look at Command App, as we shift over to the Command App in just a moment, custom tags I found are much easier to just create in the desktop version and then utilize them in the app. So we're going to go back into the live environment of the desktop version, and I'm going to go under my photo, and I'm going to go to settings. Great time of year to go in and clean up some of your custom tags. Great time of year to set custom tags going forward. So a couple different ways to do this. I'm just going to give you my favorite. And as we load up, the more and more people we get in this room, I'm sure the slower and slower internet connection is going to be, but we're going to keep powering forward. So we're going to go into command settings, contacts, and contact tags. And now I can see all of the contact tags that I've created. And you see, I've got 67 contact tags that are either created by me or created by the system. So some contact tags we may want to create, maybe holidays that a contact celebrates. I've got clients that celebrate and contacts that celebrate nearly every holiday, it seems like, and yet what a great place to put it so that I can appropriately wish happy holidays to my database. Now, you may be thinking, I don't know if I want to go that detailed. That's okay. It's your database. Maybe some other things I'd want to put in as a custom tag is we've got the Olympics coming up. Olympics is coming up in February. Hard to believe we're getting a Winter Olympics so quickly after Summer Olympics. Maybe I want to put in their favorite Olympic sport and I want to make that a tag. So I know this individual, they really, really love skiing. And I'm going to create that as a tag. Bear with me one second. Hang on one second. I'll see if I can mute. There we go. Cool. All right. So I'm going to create this as a tag. I can choose the color of this tag. So I'm going to pick skiing. I don't know. It feels like skiing should be a white tag. Just makes a lot of sense since we're going to the Winter Olympics, and create this tag. And I can see now that I'll have on page probably 3 or so, where I can just simply search for my tag. I now have my tag of skiing that's in here. As long as I don't have any contacts associated with it, I can delete or delete this tag if I would choose to. If I realize that I want to put downhill skiing or something else in here in place of that, I can edit this tag, even if it's associated with multiple contacts. So just something to be aware of with tags. Great place to utilize it. Great place to edit it, manage all of my tags that are in here. All right, let's pivot to step number 3. Step 3, systematic touches. Okay, so we need to systematically communicate with our databases. Well, it's great. I can set people on a smart plan on the app, which we'll look at, and yet I can't create a smart plan on the app. So the place to create your smart plans is right here on the desktop. So let's shift over and go back into the desktop. We're not going to create an entire smart plan today. we have time to do so. And yet I don't want to dig into the weeds too far until we get to the mobile portion, but I want to look at one smart plan that came from one of our agents. And we're just going to go into, there we go. This agent shared with me that they met a lot of people at an event that happened to be hosted at a local pub. It was some event that they had there, and they were going to meet people. And what they wanted to be able to do is easily add a contact to their phone, to Command Mobile or to the Command app, and be able to have a smart plan kick off right away. So I'm going to just show you what they decided to do for this particular smart plan. This could be at a golf event. Hey, maybe this is family reunion. Maybe you want to put in an automatic smart plan for every person you meet at family reunion if you're attending in person in Orlando in just a handful of days now. And what they did is they created a trigger event. So they had a task that would remind them to call first name, last name, just met at the pub, just met at family reunion, just met at one of your kids or grandkids events that you were at. And they added a trigger, and that trigger was one of those tags they created. So they put in one of the tags that they just created. So we'll put in skiing since we just created that tag, and I'm not worried about it kicking off to anyone right now. It does not work retroactively. So anyone I would add in the future.
Hey, Jazz, are y'all going to go get cleaned up for the movie, or at least
skiing,
put on some fresh deodorant or something?
Bear with me a second. Hit mute. There we go. Managing multiple parts of this. Always fun. And we're going to go forward with skiing is this. Anyone that I add the tag skiing to will automatically now be on, it lets me know, on this particular smart plan. So as we look going forward, what would be those touches you'd want somebody to be automatically on, that when you add them to your phone and you put this contact card, or this custom tag on, would trigger the next step? Someone shared with me that they have one called coffee. And every person they meet in line at their favorite coffee shop, that they have a great conversation, they enter them into their phone, they immediately get an email from them that says, hey, just met you in line for coffee. I wanted you to have the rest of my contact information too. And that happens before that person ever even placed their order. So let's go over now and look at step 4. And then we're kind of bouncing quick through this because I want to get to the mobile app as well, so we can look at ways to drive traffic there too. So again, campaigns to drive traffic, landing pages. Landing pages are incredibly powerful tools as it pertains to the mobile app, because what we're going to look at in our 5th and final step is really digging into the details of the mobile app. But in particular, I get lead notifications. So if we're looking at landing pages as being an option, which is our step 4, how do I customize a landing page to capture leads? And then do I make sure that I have my email notifications or my enable my push notifications on the Command app? So I don't want to miss this part. Some of you may be wondering, what is this app you're referring to? You may be new to KW. You may not have heard the news that we have a mobile app. So I'm just going to share with you this screen. If you want to search for it, this is a screenshot from my iPhone. It's also in the Google Play Store. I search for KW:command, and this is the one you want. This is the one that actually is our Command app, is our Command mobile app application that we're going to look at in just a moment. Back into landing pages. All right, so some things on a landing page. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take you to one of my landing pages. It's super simple, and it has a lead capture form. We're not going to build it together today. We'll save that for another time. But what we are going to look at is what happens when a lead comes to that landing page and actually fills it out. How do I get a notification on my phone? And then we're going to pivot into the mobile app. So I'm going to go into landing pages, and this is one that's already been created again. Just going to go into consumer. We're going to skip our unsaved smart plans in here. And I'm going to select one of the landing pages that I already built. A note on landing pages, best practice, when you save the page, make sure that the name is something that you're okay with it being public facing. Here's an example of one that I saved without really making a great title. When I open this landing page, if you can see across the top, that tab has that title. So it'd probably look a lot better if that tab was titled something like Beaver Run Knoll neighborhood or something to that effect, so that it would just look a little bit, again, a little bit more clean to the public. So here's an example of a market snap. This is a particular neighborhood. It's got the neighborhood details in the bottom of it. I'm going to give you a second one that's a little bit cleaner. Now, this one you see, it says West Bradford stats across the top. Only one active listing in this neighborhood. So a lot of turnover, although not a lot of current listings. And maybe I want a lead capture form at the bottom that says, how much is your home worth? So let's just do a quick test. We're going to call this person Alan Sellers with an S. I've got a lot of contacts in my database that are fictitious, so I want to make sure that I'm using one that isn't already in there. We're going to give him a Gmail address. We're going to give him a fictitious phone number. And then we're going to put a note. I want to find out how much my home is worth. We'll do this quick. I'm not a robot. And click send. Got my success. And now I want to actually pivot for the first time over to the command app. And you'll see this is my phone. I just got a notification. This is real time that I have a new lead inside of command. So I'm going to open this up. If I click on the lead, it'll take me to the same place. I'm going to go into the command app and I'll see at the top right, I've got a bell notification. And that bell notifications lets me know that I have a new lead. A new lead came in. Oh, but wait, I'm in the middle of a class right now, or I'm in the middle of a showing right now as an agent, or I'm with a buyer, I'm at a closing. I want to get back to this lead and it's really important that I do so. I just need 30 more minutes, or I need 15 more minutes, or I'm going to get back to them in my lead generation time this afternoon. I can click on the 3 ellipses here and I can add a task. And I can create a task right here on that notification. This is not available in the desktop version of command at the moment. But I can put in this task, call Alan to follow up. And I can put the due date. When is that due? Well, it's going to be due today. Great, confirm. I can mark this as a call task that I remember this is a phone call I'm going to make, and I can click save. Now, the other part of this, while we're in the mobile app, that's, I think, a fantastic feature. I read that notification and now it's gone. I don't know how many of you have experienced this, but I've had the notification that I've read inside a command and I kind of wanted to go back later and see what that said. I can click on read and I can see my old notifications as well. So I can look back at, oh, that was the notification. I could view his contact card. I've got everything built in here. You may be wondering, okay, what's the point? What happened next? Well, now when I go back to my home screen of the app, I can actually just see quickly what's due today. Oh, I've got due today. I need to call Alan. What I absolutely love about this app, when I click on call, if I were to dial Alan right now, it's going to call him from my native phone number. It's actually going to dial him from my cell phone number. It's not going to dial him from my Twilio line. If I were to message him, if I were to send him a text message, so I'll go ahead and open up his contact card again. We can go back. I'm going to find Alan. I could send him a message by clicking on the message little box there, the second one or the middle one, and it's going to text him directly from my mobile device. Again, in a TCPA compliant way, I'm going to make sure he's not on the National Do Not Call list. Yet he reached out to me. So talk to your broker or your attorney and find out what best practices are there. I can also email him. And if I click on the mail app, it's also coming from my native email on my phone. So all touches that allow me to mobilely run my business. Yet it starts with setting everything up in command. It starts with putting my contacts in. It starts with creating smart plans that are going to effectively communicate with those people that I already know. It starts with making sure that I've got landing pages and I'm driving traffic to those landing pages, utilizing campaigns and utilizing smart plans so that when leads come in, I've got even faster speed to lead than I've ever had before. I don't have to be sitting in front of my computer waiting for a lead to come into my email or have all of my email notifications turned on that maybe emails that I care about. Let's be honest, more often than not, they're emails that maybe I don't care about. And I can utilize all of that directly from here. Let's go back into step 5. Kind of just skipped ahead and we went right into it. Step 5 is notifications. It's making sure that you have those notifications turned on. It's sorting by call tasks. It's actually, for me, it's starting my day right inside of Command in the mobile application and looking at what do I need to accomplish today? What's due today and what's past due? If I go back to, and I'll go back and share my screen again. If I go back into this homepage, I can see what's past due. What did I maybe let slip through the cracks? And I can see, oh, I didn't follow up with Henry like I was supposed to. Or maybe I did and I forgot to check it off. Oh, I need to send a contract to Beth. I need to decrease my Twilio account because I have a bigger account than maybe I need. And I could just start checking things off on here as completed. Well, this was a phone call, so it's going to ask me what happened. What happened during that phone call? Did we talk? No answer. And you may be wondering, well, okay, so what happens when I fill this out? Great part is now it's writing to the timeline of that contact. So my database is one database I'm accessing from two different places. I'm accessing it from my phone. I'm accessing it also on the desktop version whenever I need to. But it allows me for that interaction that I can be with a client, a lead can come in, and my speed to lead dramatically increases. Can you see the value in that? In speed to lead. The other things I can do inside of the app, of course, I'm going to get cancel. I can look at my tasks. I can add a contact. I can go through and I can add a new contact in here at any time. I can edit an existing contact. I can add someone to a smart plan that's already existing. I can look at their timeline interaction. I can add notes. I can create a future task. I can run a large percentage of my lead generation or really of my business right from this device. At the moment, and this question's come up often, can I write up a contract? No. Can I create a design? No. Why would I want to create a design from this small screen to begin with? I don't know. That's a whole different conversation we could have another time. Yet I can effectively communicate with the people that are in my database, with the human beings that are in there, that I can come from a level of contribution to help them with whatever their needs may be as quickly as possible. We went through, we looked at how to build a database. We looked at how to add content to that database or feed your database. We looked at some simple ways to communicate in an effective way or in a systematic approach, which we call smart plans. They could also be campaigns. We looked at ways to create landing pages for lead capture. And then we looked at what are those notifications like in the Command app? And how do I quickly contact individuals or create a task for the future that I need to follow up with individuals in my database? What are the questions that you may have? I'm going to go and take a look at the questions box. Well, what are the questions you may have? All right, I'm just going to start right with where I see the first question, and then I'll go up from there. General question: should our actual contacts live in personal or team side of Command? Ozzy, thank you for that question. I'm going to answer this with, it's going to feel like a punt, and I don't mean for it to. Check with your team agreement. What does your team agreement say? The agreement between you and your Rainmaker. If you're on the team, if you are the Rainmaker, what does the agreement say between you and your team members? And if you have specific questions with that, I'm going to encourage you to talk to your broker, your team leader, your OP to get clarification on where they should live, whether they should live in your personal side or the team side. All right, now I'm going to go back and look at, you can't delete system tags. That is correct. You can only delete tags that you or someone on your team has created or a team tag that you've created. Can you get a copy of this recording? Yes, absolutely. You can definitely get a copy of this recording. It will be available, as well as all of the other recordings from all the other MAPS coaches that have done holiday calls. Fast people search. Yes, some comments on there. How you delete tags that are computer system. I think we got that one. We got pets. We have to add the pet drop down each time. Good question, Mandy. So you do not have to add that drop down each time. Once you create a custom field one time, you can use that over and over again. All right, looks like Keisha, you raised your hand. Come on and ask your question live.
Hey, so I have a question. So for the team and personal, is there a way that you can enter them in so they show both in your personal or team, or is it one or the other, no matter what?
Great question. So two answers to this. The first answer is you could have duplicate contacts. And I'm telling you, that's probably not the best practice. I would not want to necessarily have contact of Matt Teeter in my personal account and in my team account. Having said that, the other answer is if they're in one, I can easily find them in the other. So here's an example. I'm going to share with my screen in just a second when I get back to contacts. We go and share. And I think this is a great question. So I'm just going to search for the last name Beverlin. No surprise, I've got a bunch of people in my database with that last name. And when I start to search, let's do that again. Our wonderful faces went away. I see that looking for more, there are 20 contacts in my personal account, which also match that search. So I can shift over to my personal account and see if the contact's there. Now, one note on contacts, should they live in personal? Should they live in team? If you're writing a team opportunity, the contact needs to be in the team account. If you're writing a personal opportunity, it needs to live in the personal account. This is the way that contacts works and interacts with opportunities. All right, I'm gonna, Keisha, did that answer your question before I move to the next one?
I think so.
Okay. And I'm happy to answer questions offline as well. If you've got particular questions, I'm easy to reach. Tim Beverlin at kw.com. You can send me an email and I'm more than happy to answer any specific questions you have. All right. Keep going through. When can we respond to text on Twilio in command? Great question. So in command desktop, you can reply to Twilio messages. In the app version, I get a notification that I got a Twilio message. I can read the Twilio message. I can reply from my native device. However, I can't reply from that Twilio number. I'd have to go to a desktop version or laptop version of command in order to reply. I don't have a timeline as to when we will see that functionality. Can this app be used both with iPad and iPhone? Oh, and great question. It's just one app. There is not an iPad version of that app. You should find that the functionality works. To be transparent, I haven't used it on an iPad. I've only used it on my phone. Who do we contact if app doesn't work? Great, great question. So support at kw.com is the best place for any specific questions you have about that. Nancy, if you'd like to send me an email as well, and maybe I can help you solve that challenge. If there's a question that may not be support related, I'll be more than happy to help you any way I can. All right, let's see. Did I miss any of these questions on here? Lots of great comments, lots of great questions. All right, Keisha, do you have another one?
No, I think I just need to take my hand down.
That's all good. It notifies me a couple different times, so all good. Notifications are a great thing. Okay, let me pivot over here and I probably should get to the Q&A slide. I know you couldn't wait till this one. All right, so what did you take away from our session today that actually can make you money next week? Carlos, go ahead.
More effective follow-up.
Oh, Deb, thank you. More effective follow-up. Go ahead, Carlos.
So actually recently I made like a smart plan with the trigger for whenever I get referrals, but I didn't really think about how to like do that when you meet someone in like Walmart or like when you get a cup of coffee, like saying, hey, nice to meet you, yada, yada, I wanted to follow up with you. Download my app or something like that and just have the link there. I never really thought about that until now. That's actually a really smart idea. Thank you.
That agent had a brilliant idea. So I'm not going to take credit for their idea. And yet, yeah, it's really smart. Smart way to be able to quickly contact individuals. We could have spent an hour today talking about all the functionality inside of the app. We could have spent an hour today talking about other ways. I just wanted to give you at least an overview of a few things that you could take into the next week or two, really into the first quarter of 2022 to make a financial impact on your business, to help you be more effective, to help you be more efficient. The goal is always to save you time. We only have two resources at our disposal. We've got time and we've got money. And often we use money to buy time through the form of leverage. So if those are our only two resources that we all share, our job today, I believe, is to give you back the ability to save some time, hopefully in the first quarter of 2022, and to increase the income that you make as a result. Give me one more takeaway from today's session before we put a bow on this and wrap it up.
I love the fact of how you can create a landing page as soon as you get somebody at the coffee line or whatever event you want to name it, and have something that comes on your behalf right away.
That touch, that instant touch. Again,
Yes.
speed the lead. The faster that you can get that individual, your contact information, boy, does that make it seem like when you're going to sell their house, you're going to be on top of everything because you've got a system in place. Landing page is great. Never use triggers. Great. I want to, again, thank all of you for choosing to spend some time with us here today. I know we're kind of in the midst of holiday season and you're planning for 2022 or you're replanning and doing more things. This recording will definitely be available for all of you. You can rewatch it. If I can help in any way, I'm going to pop in the chat box my email address again, just so you have the spelling right, because I realize it says Maps Coach. It is Tim Beverlin at kw.com. I hope everyone has a fantastic New Year's. We're here to serve. Thank you for being part of our community. We're looking forward to seeing many of you face-to-face at Family Reunion or digitally face-to-face at Family Reunion. Thank you for all that you do. This company is great because of the agents. So we're proud to get to partner with you moving forward. And anything we do, let us know. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. Thank you.